When my best friend's mom pressed closer on the dance floor, her lips near my ear, and whispered, "Don't let go just yet," I forgot how to breathe. My hands were on her back. The music faded around us. People clapped, laughed, moved on. I stayed frozen, holding her like the world might break if I let go. But that came later. My name is Sean. I am 24 years old, and I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment in Eugene, Oregon. It is just big enough for a sagging couch, a cheap desk, and a coffee maker that probably hates me. I work at a small marketing firm. I fix servers, fight software bugs, and answer panicked emails from people who think restarting a computer is advanced magic. It pays the rent. It keeps my days full. It does not make my heart race. I am not the center of any room. At parties, I am the guy near the wall with a drink, checking my phone like it holds secrets. I like quiet things. Games. Tech forums. Late-night YouTube holes that start with one video and end at 3 a.m. I have dated before, but when things get serious, my words dry up. People leave. They say I am distant. They are not wrong. Jason is the opposite of me. He has been my best friend since college. Loud, easy, the kind of guy who walks into a room and walks out with new friends and better stories. We did projects together, studied late, ate bad pizza. He talked. I listened. It worked. When his wedding invitation arrived, I almost did not go. 100 people, loud music, forced smiles. It sounded like my personal nightmare. But he was my friend. So I put on a navy blazer, found an old tie, and drove to a small event hall on the edge of Eugene. The sky was turning gold when I parked. I sat in my car for a minute, hands on the wheel, and told myself to survive a few hours. Inside, the place looked unreal. Fairy lights across the ceiling, white tablecloths, roses and candles. People moved like they belonged there. I grabbed a glass of white wine and hid near the back. The ceremony was beautiful. Jason looked nervous and happy. His bride walked down the aisle, glowing. They said their vows. People cried. People clapped. I followed along and told myself I would eat, stay polite, then leave early. During cocktail hour, I leaned against a pillar and nodded through a conversation I barely heard. My drink was half gone when I noticed her. She wore a deep green dress that caught the light when she moved. Her dark hair was pulled back into a low bun. She was tall, calm, sure of herself. Her eyes were sharp and quiet at the same time. She did not look around for attention. She already had it. I tried not to stare. I failed. She moved through the room, hugging people, speaking softly. Then she turned and walked straight toward me. My stomach dropped. "You are a friend of Jason's?" she asked. Her voice was low and smooth. I stood straighter and tried not to trip over my words. I said something awkward about college projects and invitations and immediately wished I could rewind my life by 10 seconds. She studied me, then smiled. A small smile, but it hit hard. "I am Diana," she said, "Jason's mother." My brain stopped. She did not look like any mom I knew. No forced cheer, no tired eyes. Just presence. "I hate dancing alone," she said. "Do you dance, Sean?" It felt like a door opening. I almost said no. Instead, I said yes. The band started a slow song as we stepped onto the floor. She placed one hand on my shoulder and guided my other to her waist. Her touch was cool, then warm. My heart beat too fast. "Just follow my lead," she said. She moved easily, guiding me with small shifts. I relaxed. My hand fit at her side. The room blurred. The song ended, but she did not let go. "Another?" she asked. I nodded. The next song was slower. We moved closer. She told me I was not what she expected. I told her neither was she. Time stretched. Her perfume filled my head. When the song ended, she stepped away and thanked me, then walked toward a side door leading to the garden. I watched her go. My feet followed before my brain could stop them. Outside, the garden was quiet. Soft lights hung from the trees. She stood near a bench, arms folded, looking tired and real. "Why did you ask me to dance?" I asked. She looked at me for a long moment. "Because I am tired of being invisible," she said. The words stayed with me as we went back inside for one more dance. The lights were dimmer, the music slower. Our bodies lined up, chest to chest. Her hand slid to my neck. Her other rested over my heart. "You feel that?" she asked. I nodded. "That is you," she said. The song faded. Her lips brushed near my ear. "Don't let go just yet," she whispered. So I didn't let go. I held her as the music ended, and another song began, even though people around us clapped and shifted and started talking again. We stood there longer than we should have. My hands were still at her back. Her hand stayed over my heart like she was making sure it was real. When she finally pulled away, her face looked calm again, but her eyes didn't. They were bright, alive. "I'm leaving soon," she said quietly. "If you want to know who I really am, find me after this is over." Then she stepped back into the crowd and disappeared. I stayed on the dance floor like my feet were glued there. My chest buzzed where her hand had been. I kept telling myself to move, to go back to my corner, to pretend this never happened, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just stepped onto the edge of something big, and one wrong move would send me falling. I wish I could say I found her right after, that I walked straight through the room and caught her before she left. I didn't. The crowd swallowed her. Jason got pulled into a group of laughing friends. The band switched to a fast song. Someone slapped my shoulder and joked about my smooth moves. I smiled and felt nothing. I scanned the room again and again for that green dress, that dark hair, those eyes. Every time I thought I saw her, someone stepped in the way. By the time I looked toward the head table, she was gone. The rest of the reception felt like watching life through thick glass. People ate, danced, took photos. I waited near the exit longer than made sense. I even went back out to the garden. The bench was empty. The lights swayed in the breeze. No Diana. I left early. The parking lot was quiet, just a few cars under orange lights. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at my hands on the steering wheel. Then I drove home through dark streets, the radio off, her voice replaying in my head. "You are making my heart do things it hasn't done in a long time. Don't let go just yet." I didn't sleep much that night. I lay on my couch, blazer tossed aside, staring at the ceiling. My chest still felt tight where her palm had rested. By morning, I convinced myself I had imagined half of it. Weddings do that to people. Music, lights, wine. She was Jason's mom. That alone should have ended it. Days passed. Work swallowed me again. Servers, tickets, emails. I fixed problems and went home and tried to forget. I couldn't. Every quiet moment brought her back. The way her voice softened in the garden. The way she looked at me like I actually existed. I thought about finding her. I knew Jason's last name. I could have searched. Scrolled. Found her face in family photos. Something stopped me. She had given me a choice. Find me. I hadn't taken it. Maybe that meant the moment was over. A week after the wedding, my phone buzzed at work. Instagram. I barely used it. The message was from an account I didn't recognize. My stomach flipped when I opened the profile photo. Dark hair down. No makeup. Same eyes. Her message was short. "I hate social media, but I like finding the guy who danced with me without asking my age." My hands went cold. She had found me, on purpose. I stared at the screen until it dimmed. I typed a reply, deleted it, typed again. Finally, I sent something honest. "And I like the woman who made me forget how to think straight for 3 songs." The reply came fast. "Good, because I'm still thinking about them too." From that moment on, something clicked into place. We started talking. At first, safe things. Work, coffee, small jokes. She teased me about my caffeine habit. I told her about clients who thought the internet broke personally despite them. She told me she worked in media consulting, strategy, messaging, helping people be seen. The irony didn't escape me. We didn't mention the wedding directly, but it hovered behind every message. At night, I reread our chats, my chest warm in a way it hadn't been in years. "You think too much," she wrote once. "You see too much," I answered. Days turned into a week. The age gap was still there. So was the fact that she was Jason's mother. But she was also just Diana, someone who read late at night, someone who missed parts of herself, someone who noticed me when no one else ever had. One Wednesday evening, another message came. There's a bookstore downtown, The Quiet Page, Saturday at 3. If you're free, come find me. If not, no hard feelings. I stared at it for a long time. It was the same choice again. No music, no wine, just daylight and honesty. If I don't come, I realized, I'll be walking away just like everyone else. I'll be there, I typed. Good, Sean, she replied. For the first time in a long time, my weekend felt like something more than empty hours to survive. And I had no idea how much that Saturday was about to change everything. Saturday came faster than I expected. At 2:58, I stood on the sidewalk outside the Quiet Page, staring through the front window like it might judge me. Inside, shelves were packed tight with books. A chalkboard sign read, "Used, loved, waiting." Soft jazz floated out every time the door opened. My palms were damp. I checked my phone. No new messages. No excuses. So I went in. The bell above the door rang. The smell of old paper and coffee wrapped around me. A few people wandered the aisles. And then I saw her. Diana sat near the window at a small table, a book open in front of her, a mug of black coffee in her hand. No green dress this time. Just a white button-up shirt with the sleeves rolled up and dark jeans. Her hair was pulled back loosely. She looked softer, real. Still unmistakably her. She looked up and smiled when she saw me. "Sean," she said, "you came." "Yeah," I said, my voice steady only because I forced it to be. Books felt safer than weddings. She laughed quietly and nodded to the chair across from her. "Sit before you make everyone nervous." I sat. The tension eased almost right away, like something between us had already decided this was okay. We talked about small things at first. Work, coffee, the weather pretending it wasn't always gray here. Then the talk drifted. She told me about her divorce 5 years ago. No drama. Just distance that grew until it was impossible to ignore. She talked about raising Jason mostly on her own, moving cities for his chances, choosing stability again and again. "I made a lot of choices for other people," she said, tracing the rim of her mug. "At some point I put myself on mute." I listened. Really listened. "Do you regret it?" I asked. She shook her head slowly. "I don't regret being his mother. I regret letting that be the only thing I was." She looked at me then, eyes steady. "At the wedding, everyone saw Jason's mom," she said. "You didn't. You just saw me." My chest tightened. "I did," I said. "I do." Something softened in her face. "What about you?" she asked. "What are you besides the quiet guy who hides at parties?" The question hit harder than I expected. I could have joked. I didn't. "I wanted to write once," I said. "Stories, not code." Then life happened. Safe choices. I told myself it was temporary. It never was. She didn't interrupt. She didn't look away. "I keep people at a distance," I added. "It feels easier until you realize no one really knows you." She nodded like she understood completely. "Just like you were more than a mother," I said. "I'm more than that guy in the corner I just forgot." "You didn't forget," she said. "You hid." That landed exactly where it hurt. Time slipped by without us noticing. The bookstore slowly emptied. The barista stacked chairs. Outside, the light softened. At one point, she slid her book across the table toward me. "Keep it," she said. I frowned. "It's yours." "I know," she said. "Bring it back sometime." Inside, a page was marked with a sticky note, a line underlined in blue. "I want to feel my heart again, even if it breaks." I looked up. She was watching me carefully. "That's how you feel?" I asked. "That's how I felt," she said. "Less so now." "Because of me?" Quote. She didn't hesitate. "Partly." The store owner flipped the sign to closed, but didn't rush us. We stood near the shelves by the door. The air felt closer there. "I won't lie to you," she said. "This is messy. I'm older. You're younger. I'm your friend's mother." "I know," I said. "It scares me." "It scares me more to pretend I don't feel it," she said. I took a small step closer. My hand brushed a loose strand of hair from her cheek. "If you want me to stop," I said, "tell me." She shook her head once. "Don't let go just yet," she said. I kissed her. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't perfect. It was slow and careful and real. When we pulled apart, we stayed close, breathing the same air. "I'll text you," I said. "I'll answer," she said. Outside, she squeezed my hand and walked to her car. I watched her go, my chest buzzing. That night, I placed her book on my desk. For once, my apartment didn't feel empty. I didn't know where this would lead. I only knew I wasn't invisible anymore. And neither was she. The week after the bookstore felt unreal. I went to work. I fixed servers. I answered emails. I nodded in meetings. On the outside, nothing had changed. Inside, everything had. Diana and I texted every day. Not constantly, not in a frantic way, just steady, thoughtful. Like two people slowly opening doors they had kept shut for a long time. She would message me in the mornings sometimes, something simple about her coffee or a song on the radio. I would reply on my lunch break, usually with something dry or awkward that somehow made her laugh. "You're quiet," she wrote once. "I'm thinking," I answered. "I know," she replied. "I can feel it." That line stayed with me all day. We avoided talking about Jason at first. Not because we were pretending he didn't exist, but because neither of us knew where to put him in this. The space between us was already complicated enough. Friday night she asked if I wanted to come over. No emojis, no build-up, just a question. My heart raced like I was 17 again. I stared at my phone, reading it over and over. "Yes," I typed, "if you're sure." "I am," she replied. "Come by around 7. Quote, her place was on the quieter side of town. A neat house with soft lights glowing through the windows. I stood on her porch for a full 10 seconds before knocking, reminding myself that I could still turn around. The door opened before I could overthink it. She wore a simple black sweater and jeans, no makeup, her hair down around her shoulders. She looked comfortable, at ease. "You made it," she said. "Barely," I joked, then realized how honest that was. She smiled and stepped aside. "Come in." Her house smelled like tea and something warm baking. It felt lived in, framed photos on the wall. Books everywhere. Not staged, real. We sat on the couch, leaving a careful space between us at first. We talked. About nothing. About everything. About how strange it felt to want something that didn't fit neatly into a box. "I don't want to hurt him," she said quietly. "I know," I said. "I don't either." Silence settled, heavy, but not bad. She looked at me then. Really looked. "You're allowed to want things too, Sean," she said. "Even if they're complicated." Quote. That broke something open in me. I leaned in slowly, giving her time. She met me halfway. This kiss was different, deeper, still careful but no longer hesitant. Her hand found my chest again, like it belonged there. Mine rested at her waist, steady now. We didn't rush. We didn't pretend this was simple. We just let it be real. Later, lying next to her, the room quiet except for our breathing, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Seen. But even in that warmth, a shadow lingered. Because sooner or later, the world would catch up, and so would Jason. The first crack appeared sooner than I expected. Jason called me on a Tuesday night. His name lit up my phone while I was sitting on my couch, Diana's book still on my desk like a quiet reminder of everything I hadn't told him yet. I stared at the screen for a second too long before answering. "Hey, man," he said, cheerful as always. "You alive?" "Yeah," I said. "Just got home from work." We talked about nothing at first. His honeymoon plans, a project at his new job, the way married life already felt strange to him. I listened like I always had. But this time, my chest felt tight. Then he paused. "So," he said slowly, "this might sound weird." My grip tightened on the phone. "My mom mentioned you," he said. "Said you danced with her at the wedding. Said you were kind." I swallowed. "She doesn't usually talk about stuff like that," he added. "She sounded different, lighter." The silence stretched. "I just wanted to check," he said. "Everything good?" This was it. the moment I had been dreading. I could lie, brush it off, keep hiding. But after everything Diana and I had shared, lying felt worse. "I like her," I said quietly, "more than I expected." Jason didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice wasn't angry, it was confused. "She's my mom, Sean." "I know," I said, "and I would never hurt her, or you." Another pause. "She's been lonely for a long time," he said finally. "I guess I always knew that, I just never thought." "I didn't plan this," I said. "It just happened." He exhaled hard. "I need time." "I understand." We hung up without resolving anything. I sat there staring at my dark phone, knowing nothing would ever be simple again. That night, I went to Diana's. She knew something was wrong the moment she saw my face. "You told him," she said. "I did." She nodded slowly. "And?" "He didn't yell," I said, "but he didn't bless it either." She reached for my hand and squeezed it. "That's fair." We sat in silence for a while. Then she spoke, her voice steady but soft. "If this becomes too much for you, I'll understand," she said. "I don't want to be the reason you lose a friend." I turned to her, heart pounding. "I don't want to lose you," I said. Her eyes shone, but she didn't cry. "Then we take it slow," she said. "We don't hide, and we don't pretend this is casual when it isn't." I nodded. For the first time, we weren't just feeling. We were choosing, and that made all the difference. Part 6. Choosing each other did not make things easier. It made them real. The weeks that followed were quiet in a different way, not secret, but careful. Diana and I didn't rush. We didn't pretend this was some wild escape from reality. We dated like two people who understood what was at stake. Coffee dates, long walks, evenings on her couch talking until the world outside went dark. Jason kept his distance at first. He didn't call, he didn't text. I gave him space, even though every quiet day felt heavier than the last. Diana never pushed him. She never spoke badly about him either. "He needs time," she told me one night. I did too when my life changed. One evening, about 2 months after the wedding, Jason finally asked to meet. Just me, no drama, no accusations. We sat at a small bar near campus, the same place we used to go in college. It felt strange, like stepping into an old version of myself. "I won't pretend this doesn't mess with my head," he said after a while, "but I see how she looks when she talks about you. I haven't seen that in years." I didn't interrupt. "She deserves to feel alive," he continued. "I guess I just needed to know you weren't using her or hiding." "I'm not," I said. "I care about her a lot." He nodded slowly. "Then I'll figure out how to live with it," he said. "Just don't make me regret trusting you." "I won't." That was all he said, but it was enough. The first time we went out together in public, Diana reached for my hand without hesitation. No hiding, no shrinking, just her fingers lacing with mine like she had decided something and wasn't apologizing for it. "You okay?" she asked. "I've never been more terrified," I said honestly. She smiled. "Good, that usually means it matters." Months passed. My life didn't suddenly turn into something perfect or dramatic. I still worked the same job. I still lived in the same apartment. But I didn't feel invisible anymore. I started writing again, not because I planned to be someone else, but because she reminded me I was allowed to want more. Diana read everything I wrote. She never corrected me. She just listened. One night, lying next to her, I realized something that made my chest ache in a good way. I didn't fall for her because she was confident or beautiful or older. I fell for her because she saw me. And I saw her. At a wedding where we were both supposed to stand quietly in the background, we chose not to disappear. She once asked me if I regretted that dance. I laughed and shook my head. "That was the moment my life stopped being something I watched from the corner of the room," I said. She leaned in and kissed me softly. "Then I'm glad you didn't let go," she whispered. "Neither of us ever did." Choosing her did not make my life easier. It made it honest. The weeks after Jason and I talked were quiet. but not empty. Diana and I stopped hiding. Not in a dramatic way, not with announcements or explanations. We just stopped shrinking. We went for walks in the evenings when the streets were calm. We sat in coffee shops where nobody knew us. Sometimes we stayed in, cooking simple meals, talking about everything we had never said out loud before. Jason kept his distance at first. I let him. Diana did too. She never pushed him, never asked me to fix things faster. She had spent too many years forcing herself to be patient for other people. This time, she trusted time to do its job. One night, a couple of months after the wedding, Jason finally called. "Can we meet?" he asked. Just like that. We met at a small bar near campus, the same place we used to go after late study nights. Sitting across from him felt strange, like being split between who I had been and who I was becoming. "I won't pretend this doesn't mess with my head," he said after a long pause. "But I see her now. Really see her. She's happier." I didn't interrupt. I didn't defend myself. I just listened. "She spent years putting everyone else first," he went on. "If you're the reason she finally stopped doing that, I won't stand in the way." My chest loosened for the first time in weeks. "I care about her," I said. "I won't hurt her." He nodded once. "Then don't make me regret trusting you." "I won't," I said. That was it. No hug, no big moment. But when I walked out of that bar, the air felt lighter. The first time Diana and I went out together, where people could see us, she reached for my hand without hesitation. Her grip was firm, steady, like she had made her choice and wasn't asking permission. "You okay?" she asked, smiling. "I'm terrified," I said. "Good," she replied. "That means you're alive." Months passed. My life didn't suddenly turn into something flashy or perfect. I still worked the same job. I still lived in the same apartment, but I didn't feel invisible anymore. I started writing again at night, sitting at my desk with her book beside me. I showed her my pages. She didn't judge. She just listened. One night, lying next to her in the quiet, I realized something that made my chest ache in the best way. I didn't fall for her because she was confident or beautiful or older. I fell for her because she saw me, and because I saw her. At a wedding where we were both supposed to stand quietly on the edges of someone else's happiness, we chose not to disappear. Sometimes she still laughs and asks if I regret that dance. I always shake my head. That was the moment my life stopped being something I watched from the corner of the room, I tell her. She leans in, her voice soft against my ear, the same way it was that night. "I'm glad you didn't let go," she says. "Neither of us ever did."